Oh, Jared, you look so handsome.
I know. And you look, man.
I look alive.
You pretty much. I mean,
Not saying a lot.
50-50.
Yeah.
Hi, guys, gals.
This is going to be strange for all involved here because Jared and I cannot see you. And we've never done a panel where we could not see you. So unfortunately, we don't get to receive that energy, and it's going to be a little different. But you're basically just going to sit here and watch the two of us talk like idiots.
Luckily, we've been for 15 years acting with like tape X's on the walls for visual effect demons and tennis balls standing on poles for different stunts and visual effects.
Or when you're asked to leave the set because you can't keep it together, people can't work when you're there.
That too, but who's counting? I don't remember. It's way too far back in the day.
Yeah.
Excited to be here with you guys. From afar. Jensen and I both are almost 7 days into our 14-day quarantine. Got shipped up here.
No, this is day 7.
Well, tonight is day 7. Tonight is.
We're in day 7.
We're. Is that true?
Not true. We're
in day 6, man.
We're in day 6.
Yeah, I think. I know. I think the pumpkin time is like 7 p.m. I think we started at 7 p.m. on Sunday, August 2nd, and so we have to go to 7 p.m. Sunday, August 16th. Right? Does that make sense? I don't know.
Next Sunday, I'm gonna go outside.
Just lay outside.
Sunday night.
If y'all fly to Vancouver, just look for 2 hairy dudes that look like guys from Sam and Dean.
Yeah, just running out into the skirt for no reason.
Frolicking. I'm gonna put a parachute.
Jared, what have you been doing during your 6 days of quarantine? I know because we've been sharing our stories together, but for those that don't, what have you been doing?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jensen. I have lived in the same apartment here in Vancouver for about 6 years. So, I have built a life here somewhat. You know, we've had 3 kids here. We have them here, but 3 kids lived here while we were shooting, Jen and I. And so I've just got stuff everywhere. That's why my frame is so small, because if I were to move my computer this way or that way, it's just stacked up tubs of like kids' toys and coffee mugs and books and magazines and everything else. So I've been using this time to gradually grow through my apartment and try and figure out what to do with myself. It's kind of been torturous. I've got a nice little patio that I can see what's going on outside, but it's so beautiful here. And as Jensen knows, it's like 100 degrees with 100% humidity in Texas. So you don't want to go outside. But here I'm looking outside like if I could only. So I wish it was this is when I wish it was like October or November, December, where it's rainy and gray. And I'm like, I ain't going outside. So I've been sitting here just cleaning up. What about you, Mr. Ackles? What have you been up to?
Yeah, a lot of just kind of straightening up. I've been in this place for 6 years now. So this particular apartment. So knowing that the end is nigh, I've started to go through. It's amazing how much crap you can collect in just, you know, even, and this really, like, to be fair, we don't live here. This is really just kind of like a crash pad, you know. It's our home when we're working, but for the most part, it's not where we keep, you know, all of our valuables and all of our, you know, our memories. But still, it's just a lot of crap. Yeah. So I've been kind of slowly going through everything and trying not to slowly go insane.
Not to go more insane.
More insane. Well, here's I found a tool to help with that kind of that lonely feeling. There's a show called Alone. I'm serious, man.
I know.
You sit here, you're watching these people like sleep on, just sleep on like rocks and tree shrubs, and they're eating slugs and they're trying to catch fish. Meanwhile, I've like just had a pizza ordered and delivered, and I'm like a beer, and I'm like, okay, maybe being by myself in this place isn't so bad after all.
Yeah, but at least you're outside.
Yeah.
No, yeah. That's a good show. Tom and Shepard watching that. That's funny. I heard that there's a Joe Rogan podcast with the winner, so I don't want to give it up, but I heard the Joe Rogan podcast with the winner a month or two ago or something like that.
There's like 6 seasons. There's like 6 different...
Okay. I guess the most recent season. I haven't seen any of it, admittedly. I've just heard about it via podcast. But Tom and Shepard apparently like, and he got a moose, and then the bear stole it, and they're bugs. And Tom and Shep love, like, chasing lizards and everything else that can happen outside. So yeah, all right. Seems like we've both been spending our time well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's should we take some questions?
Let's do it.
Because we know what we're doing, but
you don't have to.
Probably. Okay, I'll ask the first one. This one is from Stacy Klobnak. Listen, we're gonna butcher some names, so and by we I mean Jared. But just,
my own name. Paddle. Jared P.
Jared P. Over the past seasons, you have worked with great actors. Who would you like to work with again?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure, go.
All right. We've obviously worked with a lot of actors that have been on the show several times, and they've also been part of this family, this virtual family right now, since we're doing it from afar. So the list goes on with some of the people we've been around. Some of the actors and actresses that I feel I've worked with that I would love to work with again, and hopefully get to work with again. And also, frankly, in Supernatural, we've been able to work with them again. I think we have people who died 12 years ago that are still back on the show now. But I know I'm going to say one name. It's the first name that came to my head because I do get to work with him again, and that's the esteemed gentleman and scholar Mitch Pileggi. So if this world kind of calms back down a little bit, then he and I get to work together again back down in Austin, Texas. So I'm excited about that. But I've also been excited about some of the actors and actresses who were kind of on their way up. When COVID started, I talked to Sterling K. Brown a few times, just via text, just kind of shoot back and forth, like what's going on in y'all's world. And so we've been around for 15 years. And so some of the actors and actresses that we worked with way back in the day now have their own shows, or in Sterling's case, their own show and 1,000 Emmys.
And a mantle of awards.
Yeah, get a brand new house for his mantle of awards.
Right.
That's always kind of fun because Jensen and I have had so many people come on set, and we've had some people who have done a ton of work, and we kind of look at each other and we're like, all right, they're solid. And then we've had some people come on and it's their first show or their second show, and we look at each other after rehearsal like, damn, like this girl or this guy can bring it. And so the list goes on and on. Ackles?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to pick one. There's over the course of 15 years, we've had a lot of really talented people come through the door, and like Jared said, some have gone on to have great success. I mean, look at Jeffrey Dean Morgan, look at Sterling, look at Catherine Newton, look at there's a reason that these actors have brought such great life to Supernatural, and it's because they're just really, really talented, and we were lucky to have them. And I'm happy that other people notice that talent and that they are continuing to have success. Again, hard to pick one. Chris Hardell, I think is one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite arcs. Who else? I mean, it was always fun working with Fred Lane. I don't know. There's so many. We always have a good time working with the ladies, with Kim and with Brianna and with Catherine, and so it's always fun having them around. That's a That's a hard question to pick one. I would say we've got at least a dozen that I could think of right now. That's just, please come back. And who knows? Maybe they will.
Maybe they will. All right, I will do the next question. Okay. You did Stace Klobnak. I'm going to do Nancy LM921. First off, I really wonder what LM921 stands for. And it's like, the planet I come from is... I'm going to stop. All right. Which castmate was the most surprising to meet, or who was the most memorable first meeting? I mean, I feel like I got a pretty easy one here, so I'll start. Sometime around season 4, episode 1, I think it was July 9th, 2008, I met this little guest starlet. She's pretty cute, and she was in her underwear. And I think I remember saying to myself, I'm going to marry that girl. So I did. Yeah, I think I think when I met Jen, my wife, so I don't know if surprising, it was certainly a memorable first meeting. I guess I'm surprised in hindsight to have met her on the show at a weird time, in season 4, and she and I have talked about it, and she's like, it was really intimidating. Like, I was coming in and there were these like 2 big old Texan dudes, and everybody knew each other and y'all were all friends. And then I was like this little girl in her underwear, like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm here to play the girl in her underwear in a hotel room. But here we are 12 years later, Jesus. So I think that was pretty poignant.
I just realized that every time Dean catches Sam with a girl, she's wearing the same thing.
It's in my contract.
Seriously, because and Jessica was in panties and a little tight shirt.
It's in my contract.
And then Jen, literally panties and a little tight shirt.
I have a type.
Yeah, apparently your type is women who hate wearing pants.
All of our type.
It's so limiting. I just want to be free in my underwear.
Hey, I don't write it. I just acted back.
No, you just make requests, and that's fair. And that's fair. I don't blame you. So memorable characters. Yes, I would say one that was. This is going to be weird. We've had a lot of very memorable characters come in and out. But I'd say one that was kind of, I was anticipating and not quite sure how it was going to go, was when Paris Hilton came on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, because, she was kind of at the height of her
fame,
whatever it was, and had a very, established reputation, let's say. And so I think everybody had an idea of like who she was and what she was like, and as did I. So when she came on set, I was very shocked to see that was not actually her persona, that she was like a pro and she was cool, and she wasn't this kind of like bubbly, bumbling personality that she put on for the masses, which that's when I was like, smart.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay. All right. I see you.
And by the way, in the same vein, Nicole, when she came on, as the world knows as Snooki,
right.
I watched Jersey Shore, and I was like, man, Gym Tan Laundry, that's a good motto to live life by. And so you have this idea of who someone's going to be, and then she came on set. She had just had a kid, and we didn't know what to expect, right? But it was like, okay, maybe she's going to come up and have a posse or whatever. And she came up like with her mom to help her kid, and she knew her lines, she hit her marks, and she was just super professional and kind. And I was like, oh, good on her, that's tough to be. It's tough when the world, and this was pre, social media getting so big that anything you say or do just gets lambasted and blown up. And so to have her come on set and just be professional and kind and sweet, was really cool. It's nice. I feel like it's nice for me to be humbled and be proven wrong. It's like, man, don't judge a book by its cover. Like I said, I teach it like I know it, and then I fall into that trap sometimes, and I love being proven wrong.
Yeah. All right, next. If you could give advice. Oh, this is from. Oh, wait. Is that
Lauren 2926?
No, Nancy LM921.
That's what I. Oh, weird. I read.
Is this a two-parter?
No, I read Nancy LM921, but then my eyes went to Lauren 2926. So
I'll read Nancy LM921 here. Question for J2.
That prior question was Lauren 2926.
Right.
Now we're doing Nancy's question, though. Sorry, first time, guys. I didn't get a rehearsal. I'm so nervous.
If you could give advice to your younger selves beginning acting, what would it be?
Wow. Don't quarantine. Just kidding. I'll try and start it out. I guess I've had some time to think about this. To go off on a little bit of a tangent, these last 4.5 months, and Ackles and I talked about it, traveling up here and over the last couple of days. We got into such a routine with Supernatural. There was the longest we ever went without filming was either was either the writer's strike back in 07, 08, or between seasons. But it was like 2 months, less than 3 months is the longest that we've ever gone without playing Sam and Dean Winchester. And so you have a lot of time to reflect. And also you're at home because there's a pandemic, and so you're not going out. So you're kind of stuck in your head with your thoughts. And think about what does it all mean. I've been in this business for 20 years, and Ackles has been in this business for like 52 years, I think it was. 56 years. I mix up 2s and 6s. My bad. But you have time to kind of think about what it means. And I mean, my first thought was, wow, one pandemic, and there's no more need for a talking monkey. I was like, my world is useless. My vocation has no meaning. So I was acting to myself at my home in Austin. It was pretty embarrassing. Beyond that, I guess I realized, you get caught up to some degree, and he and I both live in Texas, and we film in Vancouver, British Columbia. And so we've had wonderful opportunities to travel, to embody new characters and to explore new ideas and new thematics and new stories. And it's really intoxicating. It's so fun. It's so fun, and it comes with very obvious perks. We can pay our bills, and we can buy a nice dinner if we want. But I guess I realized when we were quarantined for 4.5 months just how much I missed the work. Like, I really do love stories. I love hearing stories. I love when someone's a savvy raconteur and can hold court with a group of people they never met, telling anecdotes or stories or jokes or whatever. I'm an absolute audience member. Like, I love being there. I'm like, oh, they're going to tell another story. I love those friends that I have. But I guess I realized that the through line for me in acting was I loved acting long before I ever got paid to act. And if I didn't, I think the lows, because there are a lot of downsides to this business, as wonderful as it is, but the lows of being away from family, being away from friends, being in an apartment for 2 weeks, to away from your kids that you've just been with for 4 months, or your wife or husband or whatever, your home. The downs are pretty real. And so if you don't have a really true, deep, underlying love of the work of what you're doing, then I don't think it'll last. And so make sure, if you choose to go forward with acting, make sure there's nothing else you can do. If it's like, well, I'd like to act, but I do love teaching. I like to act, but I do love engineering. I'd like to act, but I do love science, or I love making coffee, or whatever. Then acting's a difficult route. But if you wake up and you go like, man, I I strive and desire to go tell a story, to go embody a character, to go explore another mindset through somebody else's writing that has a whole different set of experiences and knowledge, then I think it might be for you. Animals.
I would say advice-wise, and this was some advice that I did get early on, which I was grateful for, and I guess I would give a very similar piece of advice in that when starting out with acting, you have to get in the room, and you have to audition for people, and they're going to be sometimes brutally honest. So you have to develop a thick skin very quickly. But I would say that the biggest thing that helped me was if acting was like fishing, you don't want to just drop one line in the water. You want to cast a wide net. It's a game of numbers. The more you audition, the more you learn, and the more you have an opportunity of hitting. So, there were roles that I really, really wanted and that I really thought I was going to get and I didn't get. And I was very discouraged of that. So I quickly learned that when I go in for that audition, or I go in for that meeting, or I go in for that callback, just treat that as my last performance. Boom, walk out the door. What's next? They call you back. Hey, it's an encore. If you get the job, fantastic. Now you got something to focus on. But you keep trying. Somebody said, you get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8.